Hi everybody, welcome to a tutorial where we're going to go over how to send push notifications to your iOS app made with Kivy. Okay, so I'm going to assume that you already know how to build your Xcode project with Kivy iOS and you're able to get an app on your phone. So that's sort of like the requirement at this point. And also you're going to need to have an Apple developer account. Okay, so this is just a demo. I've put together a whole Google Doc for you so you don't have to watch the video every time. If you're like going through this for the first time, you need to find something, you can just look at this Google Doc that I've made. It'll be public. I'll put a link in the description. So here's an example of what it'll look like when we're finished. This is just a screenshot from my iPhone, and you can see I've got this nice push notification right there, and you can customize everything about it. Okay, so we'll scroll down. You can support me, of course, by subscribing or donating to me, and of course, if you're able to, support the development of Kivy because they work for free at the moment. So I support them. You should too if you can. All right, table of contents. You can see everything that we're going to be doing. We use OneSignal. OneSignal is a company that is basically the provider for the push notifications. They're the service that we use. And a couple notes. You need an Apple developer account, which costs $99 a year. This doc seems a little bit long. I think it's like 18 pages, but it's actually not too bad because I have a lot of screenshots. So it doesn't take too much time to get push notifications working. And then this is important, words in italics, you have to run from the command line if that isn't clear from the instructions. Okay, my acknowledgements right here. This tutorial is based off a blog post from a Norwegian company called Msail. Really a nice blog post that they made, and the guy who wrote it is quite knowledgeable and just a good person. So shout out to him. Okay, step 1, add Python code to initialize the OneSignal framework. Remember, OneSignal is the push notification provider. So you need basically this code right here. I've got in a picture, and the important part is, if you can see it, if platform is iOS, so basically if the code's being run on an iOS phone or like device, you're going to import this auto class and Objective-C dict. Is my mic working? Okay, we're good. And then also if platform is iOS, inside of your main app's build function, you're going to want to call this other function called finish iOS init, and this is basically where we initialize OneSignal. So you can get the code by just clicking right in here. I have a public gist where you can get the, holy crap, it's raining hard outside. You can get the code, main.py. This is all that my app is going to be. All it does is, here's my Kivy code, all it does is show a button, and then it initializes the OneSignal framework to send push notifications. Okay, so you're going to want to copy this, basically this highlighted stuff, and then also the imports here, in whatever your app is, because that's how you initialize the framework. So that's all the Python code that you need. You can look at my project here. This is my app. It literally is just those two files. So this is all you need to initialize the OneSignal framework and have push notifications going. Okay, so now that you have that code in your app, or maybe this is your app, you need to install CocoaPods. CocoaPods is it's kind of like a package manager. It lets you install different frameworks in your iOS project. Okay, so you only need to do this once. Maybe if you've already seen my tutorial for integrating AdMob to get ads in your iOS app with Kivy, you've already done this step. So if you've never installed CocoaPods on your computer, you have to run these 3 commands from the command line. So I would open up a terminal window and I would say sudo gem install CocoaPods, and I'd run that, and then I'd do the next one, sudo gem install -n /user local whatever. Okay, so if you haven't installed CocoaPods, go ahead and do that. It's pretty quick, and then when you're done, come back to the video. Okay, so assuming that you've got that finished, now we need to add the pods for OneSignal. So OneSignal has its own like CocoaPod or pod to your iOS project. So to do this, well, first off, like I said, I'm assuming that you have a Kivy iOS project made. You know how to do that already. If you don't, you can go check out the YouTube tutorial I made on it. But anyway, okay, I'm assuming you're able to get your app on your phone. So now we need to go to your app's Kivy, like the folder from Kivy iOS. So basically when you create a project with Kivy iOS, you get this folder called like the name of your app dash iOS. So we'll go inside there, and I'm here, and then I run the following command, pod init. Okay? So I'll say pod init. There we go. And now that's created a file called the pod file. So now I'll open -a Xcode pod file. Okay? That's just this command right here, step D. That'll open up my pod file and I can edit it. In my pod file, as I've shown over here in the Google Doc, I need to uncomment this line, use frameworks, and then down here, I'm going to put 2 spaces, and then I'll write pod, and then a single apostrophe, and 1 signal. So this is basically telling my Xcode project I need to use the pod for 1 signal. Okay, so I'll save that. I did a command S to save. Close it, and now I need to install the CocoaPods frameworks. So all I have to do is, let's see, I don't even have Xcode open, so that's good. So close Xcode project. Okay, it's not open, and now I just run pod install. So in the pod file, I said, hey, I want to use the 1 signal framework, and now I'm saying pod install, which installs the framework into my project. Okay, so now that I've run this command, I get a couple warnings. We'll take care of those next. And what we want to do now is open our new sort of like our bigger project, which is called whatever the heck your app, the name of your app is. So your app name .xc workspace. Okay, so I'll just call open that. You could double click it from a folder or anything. Just open it up so that you're in Xcode here in your workspace file. I'll make that full screen. Okay, so now we need to adjust the Xcode build settings. So remember I said we got a couple of these warnings here. We're going to take care of most of them so that our app compiles correctly. So the first thing that we need to do is enable push notifications under the capabilities tab of your project. So I'll go over to Xcode here, and I'll get into my project. Then I just go to the capabilities tab right here, and then I have to scroll down till I find push notifications. Here we are, and then I'll click on. Okay, so now Xcode knows that my app needs to use push notifications, and when I run my app on a phone, your phone, my phone, whatever, I'll get that pop-up that says, do you want to allow this app to send push notifications? So that's there. So okay, next step, we need to go to the build settings tab of Xcode and make sure the enable modules C and Objective-C field is set to yes. Okay, so build settings here, and I'll just search for enable modules. I have to click all here. Enable modules C and Objective-C, that's the one I want. That has to be yes, okay? So I'll turn that to yes. And that's shown in this picture here. And then also in build settings, add 2 entries to the other linker flags field, one for -obj and one for inherited. Okay, so we'll search here other linker flags, right, to the other linker flags field, and then we add one. So I'll hit plus. All right, I can just double click here, then hit plus. I say dash capital O VJ capital C, and then another one, $ parentheses inherited and parentheses. Okay, so that's good. Now you can see that we've got some flags for the 1 signal framework. Okay, so that makes sense. That's shown in this picture here. And similarly, add the inherited flag in framework search paths. Okay, so also I'll search for framework search paths. Here I am, framework search paths, double click, add $ open parentheses, inherited close parentheses. There we go. Now I think we have to do it one more time. Add an entry for inherited in the header search paths. Okay, header search paths. So header search paths, this is the one we want. We don't want user header search paths. We don't care about that. Okay, so header search paths. We need inherited. So this is for the debug. Okay, and then I'll also put it in the release. Okay, inherited. Good. So we've got inherited in both of those. And last but not least, in the pods section of your Xcode workspace, so back in Xcode up here in pods, if you don't see this, you've opened up the wrong project for Xcode. So remember I said after you do the pod init, you can open up this XC workspace file. You've opened up a different one. So just open up this one if you don't see the pod section. Okay, so in the pod section, go to build settings and make sure that the build active architecture only is set to no. So I'll search build settings, build active architecture only is set to no in release. Okay, so that's perfect. I didn't have to change that. That was just a check. All right, so now that I've finished up all of my my build settings, I have to go ahead and reinstall my pods. So I'll do pod install once again, and you should see a lot less flags here. Okay, so the first time we had all of these issues, and now we only have this one, which isn't a problem. Okay, so perfect. We've set up our Xcode project just fine. Now we need to create the app on App Store Connect. So this is where we're getting, we're sort of registering our app with Xcode, or with Apple if you haven't done this yet. So step number one, we have to go to this website, appstoreconnect.apple.com. So I'll open this up, and this is where you need your developer account. You'd have to log in, but I'm already signed in. So I'll click on My Apps here. And now I have to create a new app by clicking the plus sign in the top left. Okay, so I'll do plus, new app. And I'm working on iOS. My name will be push demo for video, whatever your app is called. I'm using English. My bundle ID, okay? My bundle ID has to match what's in my Xcode project. So here I have my bundle ID is org.kivy.demo-push-notifications. So let's see, org.kivy.demo-push notifications. Okay, so that's the one I want. If you change it in here, you might have to, so like say I wanted like org.sandberg or something, you might have to choose XC wildcard here, and then you would write in your whatever you changed it to. Okay, but mine is already here, it recognizes it. So whatever this bundle ID is, however you choose it, just make sure that it matches your bundle identifier in Xcode. Okay, that's super important. Okay, so that's done. An SKU, whatever, doesn't really matter. And then create. Okay, it takes a second, and now we should have, okay, great. So my app is registered with Apple. So now Apple sort of knows about it. And the next step, so, okay, let's see. So fill out the form to create your app, specify the bundle ID, and make sure it matches your Xcode project. Okay, I went over that. There's the picture of it. So now to send a push notification, you have to have a certificate from Apple. Okay, so the certificate basically says it registers your app to be able to send push notifications. So you have to create these certificates, and it's usually kind of tedious, but OneSignal, the push notification provider, has a really nice tool that creates the certificates for you, and you can just download them right away. So we'll use that. It's really handy. So to use the tool, it's called the Push Notification Certificate Wizard. You go to this website, onesignal.com/provisionator. Okay, so this is, it just lets you create the push notification certificates. So I'll click Get Started. Step one, enter your Apple credentials. These are the same credentials that you use to log into App Store Connect, like it's your Apple ID, your developer credentials. So basically how this certificate wizard works is it checks your Apple account and it looks for all the bundle IDs that you've registered. So that's why we just created the app in App Store Connect to register the bundle ID. and the certificate wizard will look for all your bundle IDs, and then you choose which one you want, and then the certificate wizard creates a certificate for that bundle ID. Okay, so that's why it needs to log you in. So I'll log in. Okay, I'll click next, and I'm getting a warning saying someone's trying to log into your account from New York. This is just where OneSignal is like having their server that does this work. Okay, so you hit OK, no problem. Yes, allow, okay. Select your team, okay. My team is me, Erik Sandberg. Yeah, allow, okay, it's fine. Okay, select your app. So now we're going to be choosing the bundle identifier that we want to create the push notifications for. So let's see, remind myself what it was. org.kivy.demo push notifications. Okay, org.kivy.demo push notifications. Okay, so that's my my app. So if we hadn't registered with the App Store Connect, I wouldn't be able to see this here. So that's why we did that step first. So now I'll click generate, and okay, allow once again, and boom, it's already created all the certificates for me. That is like so easy and so helpful. So that's a really nice tool. You have 3 different sort of certificate files. The one we're going to use is this P12 file, which has a password associated with it. So don't close out of this web page unless you have this password written down or saved somewhere. I'll go ahead and download all 3 of these files. Okay, and now I'll go back to my tutorial. So this step was just going over how to make the certificates. Okay, we just went over this. 3 files will now be available for you to download. Download all 3 of them. The most important is the .p12 file. So that was this one I downloaded. And keep track of the password like I just said. Okay, so we'll scroll down through the doc. There's a picture of what we just did. And now we need to add your app. So register your app with OneSignal. So we have the app with Apple. Now we need to register the app with OneSignal, and then OneSignal can send the messages to your app. Okay, so if you don't have an account yet, you go to OneSignal and create one. It's totally free, no problem. So here's OneSignal, and I would sign up here. Okay, so create your account. When you're done, come back to the video, and now we have to go create a new app with OneSignal. So I'll go to app.onesignal.com, and I open up this web page where I can see all the apps that I've registered with OneSignal before. So I was doing some testing and demos before, but for this video, I'll create a new one because I have this new app. So I'll say add app right here, and I'll create a name. I'll say video push demo. Okay, add app. And it's thinking. Now it's wanting us to set up, configure the app. So we're working with iOS, so I'll click iOS here, and then next. All these instructions are in the Google Doc, of course. Generate an iOS push certificate. That's the one that we just created with the provisionator, or the certificate wizard. So it wants us to upload the file, which is super easy. I just hit choose file, and then I can just drag my .p12 certificate. So this is the one I just downloaded. You saw me do it, and I can just drop it here. Upload complete. It's as easy as that. And now it wants the private key. Back back here is the password. Okay, whatever this is, I'm just gonna copy it, and then back to this page, and I will paste it, and that's all I have to do. I'll click save. So now OneSignal basically has the certificate giving it permission to send push notifications. And now we're working in iOS. Click next. And here we go. This is like what we've been trying to get the whole time. This is our app ID. So OneSignal needs this app ID number in your code so it can register like the client's phone with your OneSignal account, sort of. So I'll copy this, and we have to put this back into my actual app. So this is the code that you've added to your project. And oops, sorry, let me explain this. So your app ID goes here. This is where you put what we just copied, what we just got from OneSignal. So I'll paste. There we go. We have our app ID inside of our code. This is okay to put on the client's phone. This is not any kind of secret. So we've got the code, the app ID inside of our Python code. Now we should be able to go to the next step here. Make sure of course you save this file. All right. So we've done this. We went through these. This is where we uploaded the certificate, no problem. Chose iOS. We copied the app ID and we replaced the string in our Python code. And now we're so close to being done, okay? So we just have to compile the app and run it on your iOS device, whether this is an iPhone or an iPad or something. The trick here is that you can't use a simulator. So you have to physically connect your device to your computer. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, except my computer can't have too many USB devices in it at the same time. So I'm gonna unplug my mouse and plug in my phone. So unfortunately I have to use my trackpad, which is, the clicks are kind of loud. So that's a bit of a bummer, but it's only for a minute. All right, so I've connected my phone. Now over here in Xcode, I have to choose my phone as my device that I want to run my project on. And I will go ahead and run. And this takes a little bit, but when it's finished, it'll be on my phone. Okay, so it's on my phone and it is loading up. And as soon as it loads, it says, hey, this app wants to send you send you notifications. So I go ahead and click allow. Here's my app. It doesn't do anything. And now if I go back here and I click check subscribed users, it says, congratulations, your first user has subscribed successfully. So because I hit allow, OneSignal immediately knows that, great, we've got a device we can send notifications to. So I'll go ahead and click done. Great. So let's go back to the instructions. So it's on my phone and I allowed it to send push notifications, and OneSignal knows that it has permission to send notifications. Okay, so there's what we just saw in the video. If you're having any trouble, you can look at my YouTube video on how to get the app on your phone. Okay, now we need to actually send the notification because we have permission to do so. So in a new tab, go back to app.onesignal.com. Okay, Xcode is yelling at me because I unplugged my phone. Here we are. So which one was it? Push notification, video push demo? I think it was video push demo. So, okay, here I am in my dashboard for this app that I just created, and I want to go ahead and send a push message. We're just gonna do the very basic, so you can see it happen. We're just gonna send to all users. Our message will be hello from the video tutorial, and subtitle by Erik Sandberg, and Kivy is great, of course, right? So this is what our message will look like on my phone. Gives you a little preview. You can change a bunch of these options, whatever, I'm not going to play with them, and then send immediately, and I can just go ahead and hit confirm. And it'll say, okay, sure you want to send this message? And I'll say, oh wait, let me record on my phone. Oops. Okay, record another bit. Oh, jeez. Okay, recording my phone. All right, I'm gonna click send message right now. And boom, immediately it gets to my phone. And you can see my message. So that's pretty sweet. And if I open it, it'll immediately open up my app. So if your user clicks on your notification, then it brings them straight to your app. So that's pretty cool. I hope this demo was helpful. That's all there is to it. It's really not too bad. I hope you guys learned a lot, and I hope that you guys get it working too. If you have any questions, of course, just leave them right in the comments. And that's about it. Thank you guys for watching.